everyone. My name is Serilda Mcgee, and I'm the founder and CEO of Workplace Change, a human resources firm located in Portland, Oregon. Welcome to Word on the Street, Pandemic Edition. Today we're going to be talking about furloughs versus layoffs. And this is something that many different business owners that I've been talking to over the past several days have been grappling with. So I want to just bring a bit more context and explanation behind the two options that are oftentimes available for hiring managers, executive teams, and business owners. Before we jump into furlough versus layoff conversations, I want to give a bit of information about the fact that I made a commitment that we were going to conduct videos with business owners and civic leaders about their response on a human level, their personal level, as well as an operations business level, their response to the pandemic. However, we couldn't cut those videos last week because they are currently in response to the coronavirus and its impact and effect on business and the community at large. However, they are still very interested, very excited to conduct an interview with us, and we have them scheduled next week. That being said, we could be postponed again. We're going to be responsive to their needs because they are truly in a state of crisis, and we need them to help lead us out of this crisis. So, with that being said, we are going to talk about furloughs and layoffs because everyone's been asking me about it. I mean, I think that I talked about furloughs and layoffs all day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week. So I want to share with you some of the frequently asked questions that were presented to me, and also know that attached to this video is our FAQ that I created along the way, because there were so many questions coming that I just thought in order for me to get responses out to people very quickly, I made the FAQ, I've been sending it out, and now it's available for you to download and review it. If you have questions about it, let us know. That's how we work. All right, so to help facilitate us in this FAQ opportunity that we're demoing here on the video in our home, still practicing social distancing, more than 6 feet apart, my husband, my friend, my business partner, Charles Mcgee, is going to ask a few of the questions from the FAQ. Not all of them, but just a few. So let's get started. Charles, take it away.
What is a furlough?
So what is a furlough is a question that a lot of folks have definitely been asking about. A furlough works like this. You can reduce your workforce's hours while still allowing them to be a member of your workforce. You can reduce hours up to 100%, meaning you don't work any hours right now. However, when things pick back up, you will get more hours, right? Also, what happens more times than not in a furlough, and I like to just preface this statement with, I'm painting broad strokes. There are nuances to this for every individual ecosystem, but generally, broadly speaking, when you furlough someone, they retain their health insurance. You continue to pay for your portion of their health insurance. And so their hours are reduced, they keep their health insurance, and they are not laid off, because a layoff is something a little different, and we're going to get to that in just a second.
What's the benefit of furloughing?
Benefits of furloughs range, quite honestly, but here are just a few benefits that come to mind for me. Number one, when business does pick back up, furloughed employees can be reactivated straight away. There's no lag time. You bring them back into their previous job that they held, and they get cracking immediately, which allows you to be responsive to new demand. And we all know, gang, this is coming soon. That's number one. Number two is you allow people to keep their health insurance during a health crisis, right? Which is really important, not just for them, but for the entire greater community. If someone gets sick, we want for them to be able to get the health insurance that they need. Number two. Number three is that with the furlough, you're able to restrict hours down over time, depending on demand. So let's say week one of the pandemic that we're currently in, demand had reduced slightly or significantly. You can reduce the staff to be responsive to that demand and increase it to be responsive to the demand. So it allows human beings, right? We want to think about relationships. We want to think about workplace culture, morale, and the needs that people have who've been working for you and dedicating their time and their energy to your organization over time, right? It would, if you can allow them to continue to work hours at a reduced rate, that is great, right? That's great for them to be able to continue to pay for their responsibilities. And it's also just great from a morale standpoint. And that's number 3. So those are just a few of the highlights of the benefits of a furlough versus just laying someone off.
What's the difference between a layoff and furlough?
The difference between a layoff and furlough is quite simple. A furloughed employee still works for you. A laid off employee does not, right? A furloughed employee still receives benefits and communications from you on a regular cadence. A laid off employee does not. Right? A laid off employee is essentially a person who is terminated not for cause, but because of your business circumstances, the business environment. But they are no longer an employee. You sever that relationship straight away. And that is the difference between a furlough and a layoff.
Which is better, furlough or layoff?
Okay, so everyone's asking me, which one's better, Serilda, a furlough or a layoff? And I have to say, it depends, right? Like there is no magic bullet that I can say, like under all circumstances, a furlough is better, and under every circumstance, a layoff is better. What I can do is provide you with some of the costs and the benefits of a furlough and a layoff. So again, I've already talked to you about many of the positives associated with furloughing. You get to reactivate your workforce very quickly when demand creeps up. You get to allow them to retain certain benefits that are offered as being members of your team. You get to reduce hours down versus just having a bright light that just happens and then all of a sudden they're unemployed. All right. So those are some of the pros of a furlough, but also there are costs that comes along with furloughs, and you have to determine if you can afford to furlough all or a portion of your workforce, because you still have to pay for benefits, and if you're reducing hours, you still have to pay for the hours that they have worked. So there's some nuances to furloughing. There's some FLSA requirements, so government requirements for if a person is working at a certain threshold, they're exempt versus non-exempt. So there are some administrative nuances associated with that as well, and you need to be aware of those nuances and be responsive to them and be compliant with them. So there are costs associated with furloughing. There's also costs associated with laying folks off, right? So when you lay someone off, they only carry their health insurance until the end of the month. If you lay them off on the 2nd, the health insurance will expire at the end of that month. And if you lay them off on the 27th, it will expire at the end of the month. That's a big hit for a human being. Also, when you lay someone off, their compensation stops immediately. So that revenue stops immediately, which causes huge impacts and implications to families, entire communities. Those are things we have to think about. But one of the things to also think about is I've got clients right now whose business has shrunk by 98%. They literally cannot afford to furlough. And so those are things that they have to determine. Can I afford to furlough or can I not afford to furlough because we don't have any money coming in? And again, these are hard decisions that everyone is making. So those are some of the pros and the cons of furloughing and versus laying people off. And I just wanted to share that information with you. Gang, we're all in this together. Like this is a shock to every human being in the country, arguably in the world. And these are difficult decisions that folks are making. And I know that folks are not making these decisions cavalierly. I know that people are thinking about how to, make sure their business comes on to the other side of this, as well as, support the individuals who have showed up day in and day out to help their companies. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of context about the options that are available. If you have questions, you can, again, communicate to us via social media, or you can shoot us an email at hello@workplacechanges.com. In closing, I just want to say, we got this. We're all in this together, and we're going to make it to the other side. I'm Serilda Mcgee, representing Workplace Change. Let us know if we can help at all. Thank you for your time.